Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin has carved out a career in the public eye and dragged her family along for over a decade. Unfortunately, this shining public image has been very hard to maintain. This is the shady side of the Palin family. While serving as the mayor of Wasilla, Alaska, Sarah Palin fired the well-respected chief of police and hired a man named Charlie Fannin to replace him. Fannin allegedly decided to eliminate rape kits from the state budget with the aim of saving between $5,000 and $14,000, a move that Palin made no effort to prevent. After the kits were cut from the budget, the department started charging survivors up to $1,200 each time the kits were used. When a legislator passed a law making the practice illegal, the chief of police protested on the basis that the community would have to foot the bill instead. It's worth noting here that these kits are in no way a waste of money, as they're used by police to gather evidence of sexual assault and also include emergency contraception. It's unfortunate this even needs to be said. In an ironic twist, it was later reported that Palin spent $50,000 to refurbish her office, enough to pay for 4 years' worth of kits. In 2014, the entire Palin household was alleged to have been involved in a drunken brawl. Sarah Palin, with her husband Todd and children Bristol, Willow, Track, and Bristol's son Trip, reportedly arrived at a party in a stretch Hummer. They had been celebrating Todd's 50th birthday, and this was not their first stop. Things went south when Track allegedly got in a fight with his sister Willow's ex. The ex's dad stepped in to break it up, and witnesses report that Todd began to choke the dad. The fight soon ended, but then Bristol, with Willow in tow, reportedly approached the owner of the house and cold-cocked him, which kicked off round 2. This time, Sarah wanted a piece of the action and was described as nearly crawling over people to get in on the fight, screaming profanities. When the Palins were asked to leave, Sarah supposedly yelled, "Do you know who I am?" Meanwhile, Track allegedly stood in front of the house bare-chested and gave the remaining guests the finger. The Palins like to see themselves as champions of the traditional family and good old-fashioned morals, but according to a book called Boys Will Be Boys, published in 2012, Todd Palin allegedly likes to promote an even older tradition. In the book, Shaylee Tripp claims how she not only became romantically involved with Todd Palin, but eventually started working for him as a prostitute, for which she was arrested in 2010. It also includes intimate, albeit unsubstantiated, details of his anatomy and implicates Secret Service agents and police in a cover-up of Todd's involvement. Believers have made much of Todd's failure to deny the allegations, a chore he left to Sarah Palin and the Anchorage police. The former governor called the sex scandal hearsay, a big lie, a waste of time, and BS.
All these real-life issues that happen, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
The Palin family's shadows stretch further than their own white picket fence. In 2009, Sarah Palin's sister-in-law, Diana Palin, was arrested for allegedly breaking into a house. She was reportedly caught by the homeowner and held at gunpoint until the police arrived. During the ensuing investigation, it came out that this was not the first time Diana had broken into this particular house. In fact, she had already found her way in a few days previously and apparently went back for seconds. However, she reportedly left her 4-year-old daughter waiting in the car outside for heist number 2. Diana Palin, who's Todd's half-sister, was later hit with felony burglary charges along with misdemeanor theft and criminal trespass. Sarah Palin is allegedly ruthless when it comes to getting her way, and this attitude even extends to her furry constituents. On several occasions during her tenure as Wasilla mayor and governor of Alaska, she seemingly displayed a callous disregard for animal welfare. Hunting wolves from aircraft was already illegal in Alaska when Palin came to power, but she oversaw a significant expansion of the program. She even instituted a bounty of $150 per wolf to further encourage the practice, but that was struck down by the state superior court. Then, in 2007, she fought a push to have polar bears listed as an endangered species because that could inhibit oil and gas exploration in the region. She even went so far as to sue the U.S. government after the motion passed. During campaigning for the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline in 2015, Palin was heard to say that if caribou's lives were threatened by the construction of the pipeline, then they should, quote, take one for the team.
Just fire a warning shot till the cops show up. Just aim up in the air.
In 2009, Bristol Palin became a teen pregnancy prevention advisor for the Candies Foundation. Bristol was paid over $262,000 that year for her part in promoting abstinence, a staggering figure if you consider that in the same year the foundation only gave out $35,000 in grants to charities. The most glaring issue with this situation is the fact that Bristol was employed by Candies Foundation despite having become pregnant while unmarried at the age of 18. If that was all, it would be no issue, because who better to advise on teen pregnancy than a formerly pregnant teen? However, despite her efforts and expertise in preventing pregnancy, Bristol announced in June 2015 that she was pregnant again, this time by her ex-fiancé with whom she split in May of that same year. This is apparently a case of do as I say, not what I do. The public was shocked when Sarah Palin's eldest son, Track, allegedly assaulted his dad, Todd, in December 2017. The two supposedly got into a fight about a truck Track wanted to use, as Todd had denied his request due to concerns about possible substance abuse. The father-son duo reportedly got into a physical altercation once Track arrived, with Track allegedly striking Todd on the head. Sarah Palin's husband suffered injuries to his face and head, but it's not clear how serious the wounds were, though the record indicates that Todd was bleeding. Track was ultimately charged with felony burglary, assault in the 4th degree, and criminal mischief for causing property damage in Wasilla, Alaska. But the son didn't go to jail for his alleged crimes because he'd reached a plea agreement to enter Alaska's Veterans Court, a program intended to rehabilitate veterans like himself. After getting in trouble for allegedly assaulting Todd Palin, son Track found himself in trouble with the law once again in September 2018. This time, he was accused of domestic violence against his ex-girlfriend and mother of his son, Jordan Loewe. The alleged incident occurred after Loewe dropped their son off for a visit and Track reportedly pestered his ex for a hug. Loewe finally gave in, which was when Track supposedly followed her outside, got on top of her, and began hitting her. Loewe eventually got free and was able to call for help, and Track stopped the alleged assault. It's unclear what kind of injuries Loewe sustained, but police officers observed small scratches on her arm and that the back of her head and her neck were red. The veteran reportedly appeared calm when authorities arrived at his house to follow up on the incident. However, his demeanor quickly changed when they placed him under arrest. Not only did Track supposedly knock over a coffee table, but he also reportedly tried to headbutt one of the arresting officers. Track was arrested for 4th-degree assault and resisting arrest, which got him booted from Alaska's Veterans Court. Given that this wasn't his first arrest for domestic violence, the judge decided Track should spend 1 year in custody. However, he was later granted early release from a halfway house. Bristol Palin and her younger sister Willow always seemed close, so we were a bit surprised when Bristol seemingly skipped her siblings' wedding in September 2018, choosing to stay home in her new stomping grounds of Texas instead. Although we didn't immediately know the reason why, Bristol supposedly skipped out on the nuptials because Willow invited their older brother Track to the event. This was reportedly an issue because Bristol's ex-husband, Dakota Meyer, decided their kids can't be around the troubled elder sibling. We're not going to judge Bristol for this alleged move because we don't know the ins and outs of her relationship with Track, especially as it pertains to her kids. However, Track was arrested for alleged domestic violence the night before the wedding, meaning he missed the nuptials anyway. Talk about a mess. It's no secret that the Palin family doesn't think highly of Levi Johnston's parenting skills, as Sarah Palin once referred to Bristol Palin's ex as a deadbeat dad to her grandson Trip. Bristol has said equally negative things about Johnston, all of which he has denied. Johnston took to Facebook in February 2016 to set the record straight on his involvement in Trip's life, insinuating that his role as a parent has been mischaracterized. After winning joint custody of the couple's son, Johnston penned in a since-deleted post, "I'm so happy to have my son in my life and to put all of this back and forth in the courts behind me. It might have taken me 7 years and cost me around $100,000 in lawyer fees spread out among 3 different lawyers as well as a lot of patience, but it was all worth it." He then addressed the misrepresentations of his characters, stating, "Despite what some have heard, I've always been there for him, and I go to almost every school event that I can and spend all of my free time with my kids. Right now, life is really looking up for our family. With this family, who knows the truth?" After splitting from Levi Johnston in August 2010, Bristol moved on to veteran Dakota Meyer, with whom she had 2 daughters. Bristol's relationship with Meyer has been consistently rocky, climaxing when he accused her of a major parenting violation in October 2018. Per Meyer's account, Bristol allegedly prevented him from attending their eldest daughter's birth after they broke up in May 2015, shortly before their planned wedding. Bristol was pregnant at the time, and Meyer claimed he made it clear he would remain involved. I spoke with her family every month and made it clear I would be the father of my child. I reached out to her before Sailor was born and asked what the plan was to co-parent. She told me to go through the courts to establish paternity. Meyer went on to allege that the drama caused him to miss the birth, adding, "I wasn't invited to the birth and found out my child was born on Twitter. Can you imagine being a dad and not being allowed to be at your child's birth?" We can't say whether Meyer's account is true, but we're glad he has a great relationship with his kids today. Sarah Palin seemingly blamed President Barack Obama for track Palin's legal issues. Speaking at a rally for then-presidential candidate Donald Trump in January 2016, Palin insinuated that Obama's supposed lack of respect and support for military vets contributed to her son's problems, stating, "My son, like so many others, they come back a bit different. They come back hardened. They come back wondering if there is that respect for what it is that their fellow soldiers and airmen and every other member of the military so sacrificially have given to this country." She continued, "It's a shame that our military personnel even have to wonder if they have to question if they're respected anymore. It starts from the top. Do you know what we go through? Do you know what we're trying to do to secure America and to secure the freedoms that have been bequeathed us?" After receiving backlash for her speech, Palin denied she ever blamed the former president. We can't help but find her comments a bit shady, however, especially since Obama has a long track record of supporting veterans. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about prominent public figures are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.